It's a great privilege to be here and to be sharing the stage with Kirit Parekh sir. I remember when I had started working in the sector, we used to have almost classroom sessions from him in how to set up a public-private partnership. I feel happy that though Mr. Sharma was kind enough to mention my JE rank, which my kids laugh about when I talk about it, but mostly people know me more about the public-private partnership projects that I have set up in renewable energy. So I remember the meetings Sir used to have about PPP in mega power projects. I extended the same to renewable energy. It's also a privilege to be with Mr. Anurag Sharma, Mr. Faizur Rahman, and of course, Mr. Sharma. We go back a long way. One of the first issues that I would like to share with all of you is that I have a quarrel with a large number of conferences where net zero is talked of as a very noble deed, which encompasses a lot of sacrifices, and that which entails somewhere that we are doing it not for ourselves, but we are doing it for the Mother Earth or for the next generation with huge sacrifices to ourselves. I've been invited to speak in climate finance conferences where CEOs of banks almost beseeched and requested that, I mean, don't bother about the shareholder value of your bank, and which CEO would do that, but bother about 30 years down the line, or think about your grandchildren and do it for the sake of the grandchildren. And people talk of green banks, green bonds, etc. My point is that, well, climate change is a big room, but in that big room, at least there is one part that is renewable energy, where we don't need all this. We are at a happy confluence of economic viability and environmental sustainability, where we don't need to talk of renewable energy as a noble deed, that we need to do it for the next generation. We should do it for the next generation, fine, that is fine. But when we do it, we are making savings as of now. So this ticks both the boxes, that of economic viability and of environmental sustainability. This is perhaps, this was not true 5 or 6 years back, but this is true for the last 5-6 years, at least for renewable energy. I talked of climate change being a big room. Yes, there are those aspects of climate change, like carbon capture, which perhaps are not economically viable today, and we need initiatives like viability gap funding or numerous other instruments to make it viable. But at least this aspect is something that, as I say, should not be talked of as a noble, painful process, but it should be talked of as something which makes sense. And I'm speaking, and I'm saying this from experience of personal experience of projects that I have set up. The two projects that have been talked about, they have been conceptualized and implemented by me from zero to completion, and they are fully functional. The first project that was talked about was the Riva solar project. That was the first project to bring down the price of solar above coal to below coal. At that time when the project was set up, Government of India companies were giving subsidy to achieve a target tariff of 5 or 4.5 rupees. And even that price was higher than the price of coal-based power plants. The project I set up was a state-run project. It was not given the support of viability gap funding. So we did everything possible to bring down the cost of the project without the subsidy below 4.5 rupees. But we overdid what we were trying to do, and we actually got a tariff of below 3 rupees. The project has been completed. It has got a lot of recognition. It's got a World Bank President Award. It's used as a case study in Harvard. But more importantly, when I come to Delhi, I like to talk about Delhi Metro, because 1/4 of the power of this project in Madhya Pradesh, in Riva is a place close to Allahabad on MP-UP border, comes to Delhi Metro. And during the daytime, 65% of Delhi Metro's energy requirement is met from this project. Now, the point that I'm trying to illustrate is this. The Delhi Metro, look at it from Delhi Metro's point of view. Delhi Metro has made zero investment. They're just buying power like Meridian is. And they're making a saving of 100 crore per annum. So this is a decision that has not involved any economic sacrifices for Delhi Metro. They have not made an investment. They are making a saving of 100 crore per annum. They like to emphasize the green aspect of the project, which is appreciable. But as I was involved in the decision-making process, from convincing them from day one that they should be a part of this project, to the, when I finally power started flowing, I think in 2018, their decision-making was not because of Mother Earth. Their decision-making was not for the MD, Mr. Mangulal's grandchildren. I mean, not that I met them, but it was not for his grandchildren. It was for Delhi Metro's balance sheet then and now. So that is the point that I'm making. The renewable energy is that space when we need to celebrate it as a blessing which gives results on both the fronts, economic and environmental sustainability. Very often, DISCOMs are pushed to accept more renewable energy. So that is the point that I've always been trying to make, that instead of forcing unwilling DISCOMs to have more and more of renewable energy, and why they are unable to take it, there are other reasons which I don't think we have the time to go into right now. There is so much scope of encouraging institutional customers. After the project that I did about Delhi Metro, the next project that I did was supplying power to Indian Railways. So it has yet to come up, the bidding and all is over, but it is a replication of the same project. But like Delhi Metro takes 1/4 of the power from our first project, from this project, Indian Railways is taking the power in 9 states. So again, Indian Railways is driven by in economic reasons for taking this decision. The other project I would like to talk about is, at the other end of the spectrum, Riva is a project, 750 megawatt project. It's over 1,500 hectare, 15 square kilometer. Looks like a sea of panels when you go by. Now I'm like to talk about rooftop projects. So even the rooftop project, the idea was the same. We have successfully implemented in over 100 organizations in Madhya Pradesh, including established organizations like IIM Indore and National Law Universities and School of Planning and Architecture, etc. The principle is the same. None of these buildings, organizations have made any investment. The entire investment has come from a private investor. We have achieved the lowest rates in the country, and the project has been running. Niti Aayog is not, I'm not now working with Niti Aayog to try to replicate this project for setting up solar rooftop projects on health institutions all over the country. Now, in this huge project of 15 square kilometer and small rooftop projects on, let's say, IIM Indore, the principle is the same. And this is something that Dr. Parekh has always talked about, how to structure a good PPP, how to de-risk the project, how to ensure that the developer feels confident about its investment. And if we do that, and I mean, as I have tried to submit to you that we have successfully implemented this. So if we do that, then I don't think that finance is a challenge. So then there is, we should not think of finance coming only from the country. Finance is available internationally. They're looking for good projects. So if we set up bankable projects where the risk mitigation has been properly done, how we can do is perhaps something longer than the time today permits. But things like payment security, strong contracts, clarity in terms of detailing. I mean, the detailing required that we did was this much, that, for example, we had a tender for rooftop projects over government colleges, 207 government colleges in the state. So there was a Google folder of government college, that tender. There were 207 subfolders for each college. In each subfolder for the college, there was a Google map of that particular college with a pre-engineering design of how many panels would be there, how many modules would be there, how many inverters, even the length of the copper wire. All that information was available with the bidder the bidder sitting in his or her office in Bangalore or Pune or Noida, just at the click of a button or mouse rather, could see the capital investment required from each project. So that is how we could achieve the lowermost rates in the country. But all these efforts, they don't cost anything. The development of the data room for each building cost 400 rupees. So if with that minimal investment, if we could remove the information asymmetry, I mean, otherwise the developer knows nothing. I mean, the 207 government colleges in Madhya Pradesh, even the Commissioner of Higher Education would never have seen all of them. Because they are, I mean, it's not like Delhi that you can drive from St. Stephen's to Miranda and like you can walk from one to the other. I mean, Madhya Pradesh is a big state, so there are colleges in divisional headquarters, district headquarters, and tehsil headquarters. So it was impossible for the developer to ever go and visit those sites. But we made all that information available to them. So these are the things that enabled them to happen. My point is that if we are able to set up projects where developer risk is mitigated, then we can get developers, we can get new developers, because the way we are doing projects in India, only developers who can manage the harsh realities of, let's say, managing land in India, etc., are able to participate. We can get new developers, we can get capital with very moderate expectations of a return on investment. We can, the pension funds, sovereign funds, etc., which are more keen on their returns, their investment being safe than on skyrocketing returns. So if we can set up projects where the risk is mitigated, we can get this sort of funding with low expectation of ROI. We can get low, we can get debt at, with low rate of interest. And again, I would like to say, for example, the Riva project that I talked about, it was a state-run project, but there were 20 bidders, including all the, I mean, large number of international companies. There was SoftBank, NG from France, Enel from Italy, Sembcorp, a Mauritius project, which actually won the project, a Canadian firm. So large number of international companies participated. Even in our rooftop project, there were large number of international companies like Singapore-based Cleantech, Amplus, AmpSolar, all the major players, they participated. So essentially, if we can mitigate developer risk, then there can be sufficient participation, and the goals that we wish can be accomplished. It is futile to think of trying to accomplish these goals with government finance. Government has barely money to spend on education and health. Referenced was, I also spoke about working with Niti Aayog to set up rooftop projects over health institutions in the country. So I was having a discussion with the health ministry in Government of India, and I was trying to convince them that please don't waste the money of health department of health ministry of Government of India to set up solar projects. I mean, there is so much money internationally available who are willing to set up solar projects. Why shouldn't we use the money of Government of India, Health Ministry on health per se, on buying equipments, on buying medicines, on paying salaries to doctors and staff, employing them? The setting up of solar rooftop can be comfortably done by private investment if we structure our projects well enough. I mean, very often the feeling is that, I mean, I will just like to finish by, this Midsummer Night's Dream. So usually the idea is that, I mean, apologizing if I'm being politically incorrect, but, the Apollo is supposed to chase Daphne. I mean, the man is supposed to chase the woman, but in Midsummer Night's Dream, there is a mention of Apollo flies and Daphne holds the chase. So we can turn things around. Rather than climate projects requesting and beseeching banks and developers for investing for the right cause and for the grandchildren's sake, we should set strong bankable projects, and then money, both capital and debt, would flow to these sectors, and we can hope to move towards the path of net zero while doing something that's economically beneficial for the country. And again, I would like to say that all the PPP lessons are the same that Dr. Parekh has always talked about, and we are just trying to implement the same. And I would thank Dr. Sharma and the organizers for having invited me, and it's really a pleasure to meet you and share my thoughts with you. Thank you so much.